and welcome to today's Morrowind modding tutorial video. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a very simple quest. I'm currently remaking my Mages Guild Overhaul mini questlines mod completely from scratch, so that's what all we're going to be working on today. So we're in the construction set, and we're going to go to File, Data Files, and we're going to check off Morrowind, Tribunal, and Bloodmoon.esm. You always want to check off all of those. I don't care if you're not using anything from Tribunal or Bloodmoon. Just trust me on this. Check those off too. It's got to do with the GMSTs and whatnot. Just do it. I'm also going to be using OAAB data and where's Tamriel data? And then so you're going to check those off. Tamriel data and OAAB data are of course optional, but I will be using their repositories and items for this mod, so I'm going to check them off. Okay, so we're going to be doing the quest where the quest giver sends you off to different locations to unlock trapped and locked chests for the guards. So we're going to need to make a couple of NPCs. So we're going to go to NPC. I like to do show modified only. If you otherwise all of the NPCs show up in the game, and that is a little much for me. That's so many NPCs. So I do show modified only. We're going to click new. And for the ID, this is the unique identifier that the game reads. You don't see this in-game. You see their name in-game. So for the ID, I always start with GG for glittered gear. That's my unique modder identifier. And you want to have one of these because, for example, this NPC's name is Lilona. If her ID was just Lilona, if, say, some other modder also used that name and the ID, there would be a mod conflict. The game would get very mad that there's two different duplicate IDs in there, and it would crash. So, by always using your unique modder identifier up front, that ensures that that situation doesn't happen. And then after GG underscore, I always like to do some sort of mod-specific identifier. So this is MGO for Mages Guild Overhaul. And then Lona. She is a Dunmer. She is a mage. Let's make her level 5. She's female. I often don't really care how my NPCs look, to be honest, so I just click on things. We are going to want to give her some clothes, so we're going to go to clothing. We are going to show everything, and then I'm going to give her some expensive robes. Type in expensive robes down here. This filter is a godsend. Let's just do 2, and then we're going to give her some shoes. Also 2. Okay. So we're going to click OK. And there she is. And then we're also going to need the guard that's guarding the chest. So that's GG, MGO, guard 01. He's not going to have a fancy name, but he is going to be an Imperial. It's going to be a guard. It's going to have just going to have the Imperial stuff. It's going to look very guard-like. And then for the guard, he's actually going to have a script, because we don't want him to show up before you start the quest. And I don't like my quest NPCs to just stay in the game world after you're done with the quest. That's just a personal preference of mine. I feel like it makes the game feel cleaner, in a sense, if the quest NPCs disappear afterwards when they're no longer needed. So we are going to click this ... and then we're going to create a new script. I actually already wrote the script right down here. So basically, this is the name of the script. Again, GG underscore MGO underscore unlock 01 is the name of the quest, and then appear just so that they appear. You can name your quests whatever you want. This is just the naming convention that I use. And then, so if the player character has accepted the quest, if the index is 10, then he's going to be enabled. If this quest index is not 10, he's going to be disabled. We're going to save. It's going to be mad at me because it doesn't know what this journal entry is. So we're going to go ahead and create that journal. So to do that, we're going to click this little speech bubble. We're going to go over to journal. Lock 01. So that's the ID of the quest. We're going to hit new. And then, where did I put that? Aha, here it is. So this is the name of the quest. Click quest name so the game knows that's the name. This is index 10. So I always start my quests on index 10 and end them at index 100. I usually also do increments in units of 10, so the second step is going to be index 20, third step index 30, and so on. I do this because if I wanted to have anything in between, it's a lot easier to just go in and add, say, an index 15 or something. So, for example, this is the end of the quest. We're going to hit finished so the game knows to take it out of your quest journal, or of your active quest section. If I wanted to do a index 20, where opened the chest, that activates when you open the chest, then it's very easy to go back and do that. If this was index 1, and this was index 2, I would have to also change the quest indices here, and if I refer to them in the dialogue trees, then I'd have to go back and change those as well. So it's just easier, in my opinion, to go back and add or remove things if you do it in increments of 10 and leave yourself space to add. Okay. And now the script is happy because we have this in the journal. So again, that's just going to make the whatever is attached to this script appear and disappear at the correct times. And then now we need a container. So what I like to do is I like to find an empty chest. Sure, it can be a fancy chest. Actually, I want it to feel like it fits in better with the vanilla game, so I'm going to do this. Again, no idea what this looks like, but I'm just going to roll with it. MGO unlock 01, because that's the quest name, and then C for container. And then, so I edited this item, I'm going to hit save anyway, and I'm going to get this pop-up. So I definitely want to create a new object here, so I'm going to hit yes. And now we have our chest. But we need some smuggled goods to put in that chest. So I'm going to go to misc item, because I don't want the player to be able to do anything with it. I just want it to look like a nice little package. I think there was a Dwemer satchel bomb kind of thing that I liked the look of. Dwemer satchel pack, here it is. And again, ggmgo unlock 01G for goods. And I'm going to do 0 to discourage the player from running off and selling this. If it was like 10,000 gold in value, then someone might opt to sell it instead of completing the quest. So in-game, the reason for this, that you can't do that, is because the guard is standing right there, and they would try to chase you down and arrest you if you tried to run off with it. Again, create a new object. Now we need to put these smuggled goods into our container. So we're going to open this up. We are going to go back to misc item. And then we're just going to click, drag, drop. Boom, there it is. Now we're going to save, and now we're going to actually save the plugin. You want to save very often because sometimes the construction set crashes, and it's very sad when you haven't saved. Personal preference of mine is to start all of my work in progress mods with an underscore. It just makes it a lot easier to find it in the construction set and the data files selection if there are underscores, in my opinion. So that's what I do. Do Mages Guild Overhaul mini quests. Gonna hit save. Now it's saved. Excellent. So now we've got our NPCs, and he's got the right script. We've got our container. We're going to attach the script. And we've got our item, and we've got the journal entries. So now we have everything we need to start making dialogue. So the Mages Guild, they use duties for their quests. And so the way the dialogue works is it goes from top to bottom, and it selects the first thing that fits the criteria. So for example, right here, if the NPC that you're talking to is in the Skyrim Mages Guild, rank of Wizard, and you've been expelled, this will show up. It's dialogue here. But if you're not in the same faction, obviously if you're not in the same faction, if you're not a member of the Mages Guild, you can't be expelled. So if you're not expelled, then it goes down, because it's like, okay, this doesn't apply. So it goes down. Are you in the same faction? If you're not in the same faction, he asks, would you like to join the Mages Guild? If you are in the same faction, then he says something else. I don't have Shoten.esm involved, so I don't know what all he says. But anyway. So we're going to do Lilona's dialogue. One way that helps me remember, too, and really solidified to me how the dialogue trees work on the construction set, is to just kind of envision it as a Plinko machine. If the dialogue isn't a good fit, then it just bounces off that one and goes further down into the next one until you get something that fits the situation. So if I just left it like this, then every single NPC with the duties topic would say this. So we want to make sure that only Lilona says this. So we're going to go to ID and Lilona. So now she is the only one that will say this. Okay, that's good enough for now. Once we have more quests implemented, once all of them are implemented, we're going to have it so that once all of the journal entries are complete, then she says something else. But in the meantime, since we're only working on the first one, this is good enough. So now we are going to create a new topic called Unlock Things. And this will automatically hyphenate in game. So we're going to go to make a new topic. We go to this topic window, hit New, and whatever you want to be hyperlinked. So in this case, it's unlock things. And then when you click on unlock things, I'm just going to assume that the player does want to unlock things. So she's just going to jump straight into the quest. So we got a dialogue here. And she's only going to say this if you have not accepted the quest yet. You remember our quest acceptance index was 10. And then here in the result box, this is where you put in like what items the player gets, what items the player loses, spells, journal progression, stuff like that. So once she says this, we're going to advance the journal, and we're going to learn 2 new spells, Open and Telekinesis. And then another thing is we're going to have the Open and How the hell do you spell telekinesis? There we go. Okay, so this makes a little, it shows up in the text box, but it'll be in a different font color, so it'll jump out at you more. So I like to do that these days with the message boxes, just to make it more obvious to the player that, hey, I learned these spells. Okay, but we don't want to repeat this every time. We want her to say something, whoops. We want her to say something when the journal index is 10. Body. So when you've accepted the quest but haven't finished it yet, she's going to say this. And then when you have finished the quest, she's going to say that. Okay, so now we have Lilona's dialogue done. Now we can move on to the guard. So again, we only want the guard to be saying this. Journal. He's going to say this at index 10. So you've accepted the quest. And then he's going to say this if you don't have the goods on you. It's going to say okay. And then if you do have the item, it's going to say this. So advance the journal, add in some items, and then we're going to remove the smuggled goods. So advance the journal, give the player the loot, and then remove the smuggled goods. Okay. So now we have all of that. We're going to save. Every time I close something, a box, switch cells, or do anything significant, I always save. So now we're going to put him in Fort Pelagiad. Going to resize the window to make it easier. And I'm also going to turn the lights on so I can see better. I'm going to put him up front just for player convenience. NPC, guard. He does not have pants. We should give him some pants. Clothing. Pants. He can wear common pants. Save. He can wear a different pair of common pants. Okay. Now it is obvious that he is wearing pants. And then we also want to put in the container. Like that. Oh, and if you hit this little angle button, that's the snap to angle. So there. Now, when we double click it, we can see the rotation is at a perfect 90 degrees. Now, we also want this chest to be locked. So we're going to go over here, check off it is locked. The lock level, let's make it pretty easy. Let's say it's only 15. And I'm not going to put a trap on this one. This is the first one the player's doing. I don't want to be too mean, so easy, low level lock, and no trap. Gonna hit save. Okay. So now we can go... Oh, we have to place Lolona as well. So I'm going to put her in the Vivek Guild of Mages. Guild of Mages. She can be down here hanging out with Trebonius. And then her AI is set to wander, so she'll just be walking around. I'm going to check the guards. Yep, he's got AI wander too, so I'm just going to delete that. Save, save. So now the guard will sit still. Okay, that all is looking pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead, save again, and I'm going to end the recording so I can test it out in game.